students, this is online literature class. We'll be looking at what the concept of literature and the role of figure of speech in literary works. And then the third point is how to answer why questions. So literature generally is regarded as anything written. That could mean that is where we have what literature of biology, literature of English, literature of chemistry. Any work that chronicles a concept is regarded as literature. Aristotle defined literature as the mirror of the society, which means man and his environment. That is, issues that surrounds man in his environment. Then Rees, 1966, defines literature that any writing that communicates, a thought. But as a field of study, we are looking at literature as a concept or a work or a body of work that has aesthetic value. The aesthetic value here is where the figures of speech now comes in, because it has to delineate the literary works, differentiate literary works from other types of works. How do I mean by that? That is, separate literature from other works like biology, English, because the aesthetic value has to be there. Okay, and this aesthetic value are built by what? With the use of figures of speech. Okay, figures of speech, these are words that does not necessarily depict what they mean. Okay, in essence, you could say something and mean a different thing. All right, we have figures of speech like hyperbole, simile, irony, sarcasm, slapstick, and so on. And that is why in why questions to be specific, we have issues like what? Unseen poetry. Unseen poetry, these are poetry that don't have an author. An excerpt will be given, and maybe possibly questions will be what? Given, and students are expected to answer such questions. And in answering the question, sometimes maybe a line will be underlined. Okay, and then the question will be the students will be demanded to identify the figure of speech used in that underlined, line of the poem. It might be a drama, okay, or maybe a prosaic work. So the figures of speech, students of literature need to have a good knowledge of these figures of speech in order to, answer questions for WAEC and maybe discuss or even write poems, perfectly, that will have what? We have that aesthetic value that literature talks about. For instance, we have simile. Simile says it's an indirect comparison with the use of what? As and like. Okay? For instance, if I say that he is as black as charcoal, I'm using as. Okay? As here, simile is an indirect comparison. He is as black as charcoal. Okay? Invariably, the person is not charcoal, but then I'm trying to compare what? His complexion with that of what? That of charcoal. Or he liked dancing. Okay? Like here is what? Is simile. There's a use of what? The figure of speech called simile. And then another figure of speech that, let me say, there are two figures of speech. Okay, there are figures of comparison. A simile is with the use of what? Indirect comparison, while metaphor is the use of what? Direct comparison. If I should say that what? He was a lion in the fight, I have used what? I've used metaphor. There's a metaphoric expression in my statement. He was a lion. Not necessarily that he turned into the complexion or into the physique of a lion in the fight, but then he fought gallantly like a lion in the fight. For instance, if I should use what? If I use hyperbole, okay, hyperbole is what? Hyperbole is, excess exaggeration, excess exaggeration. When you over-exaggerate, okay, you overstate. An overstatement is hyperbolic statement. When you over-exaggerate, maybe he drank 10 gallons of water, okay? Ordinarily, it's not possible for a human being to drink 10 gallons of water. But I say he drank 10 gallons of water. Maybe he had that passion and zeal for drinking water, but then I over-exaggerate what he used to do, okay, or he has been doing. All right. Then personification. Personification here, is giving inanimate object, the qualities of what? Animate object. How do I mean? When you give inanimate, that is non-living things, those qualities that human beings exhibit or animate objects exhibit, you have used what? Personification. All right. For instance, if I should say that the sun moves from the east to the west, okay? The sun moves from the east to the west. The sun is an inanimate object. It cannot move, all right? But in this sentence or statement, I have, personified the sun, all right? I've personified the sun. I have given the sun, the qualities of what? An animate object, okay? For instance, another example of a figure of speech is oxymoron. Oxymoron is when you place two contrasting words side by side, okay? You are using what? You have used oxymoron. The figure of speech called what? Oxymoron. For instance, if I should say what? If I should say, it's bittersweet, okay? Bittersweet. All right? How can something be bitter and sweet? This is an example of what? Oxymoron. Okay, I've placed what? Two contrasting words side by side. All right? And another example of maybe a figure of speech is what? Is like irony. Okay, it's irony rather. For instance, or by definition, irony means when you say something and you mean the opposite. Okay, you are ironic. For instance, if I say that the better way to live is by what? Jumping into the fire. Okay, how will somebody want to live? Okay, and then that person will jump into the fire. What am I saying? There's what? Meaning the opposite, that if you should live, you should not jump into the fire. So such statement is what? Is ironic. Okay, it's an example of what? An ironic, statement. So, generally, literary works, call it prosaic or dramatic or poetic, they are characterized with so many examples of figures of speech, and then our vast knowledge of those figures of speech will give us those impetus, to give us that power to do what? To answer why questions correctly. So we should try to look at those figures of speech, try to make them part of us. How do we do that? We learn them, read in our books, and then try to put them in our writings. Okay, especially when we are writing literary works. You try to put in our writings, maybe write short stories, write novellas, poems, and so on and so forth, and then try to depict them, present them in your work.